Hi, I'm Laura Louise Love, and thanks for joining me again for the Lifestyle series on this gorgeous autumn day here in Tassie at the West Head Lookout from the Narawntapu National Park. Every parent wants their children to do well in life, to thrive, flourish and reach their full potential. But you may not realise just how important your own health and well-being, as the grown-up can be, not only on your kids' fitness and mental health, but their school performance too. The current obesity crisis at the moment is really scary. I heard Jamie Oliver on the radio recently saying that now we're actually purchasing less actual bags of sugar, but we're consuming more of it than ever before. So we are consuming more and more of these processed foods, and our lives are becoming increasingly sedentary. Some projections suggest that by 2030, 51% of the population will be obese. So let's be proactive and turn things around. There is a bit of a science to well-being. The literature shows that in kids with great well-being skills, this tends to overlap with their school achievement. So it's not only important to explicitly teach some well-being practices in schools, but also model these in the home too. After all, there is so much research on the links between teacher and student well-being, parent and child well-being as well. According to research into the mental health spectrum in 2011, the majority of adults rate themselves as only moderately mentally healthy. So let's stop settling for just going through the motions and start thinking about how we can function to our optimum and live our best life. After all, this isn't a dress rehearsal, is it? So today I'm going to cover how to improve your family's health by the things we do, what we put in our bodies, and the thoughts we think. Alright, let's get started on the dreaded exercise bit. Many people have very negative beliefs when it comes to exercise. And when you're a bit out of touch with your body, it can become something we even avoid. But getting active doesn't have to be a burden. Often people think in terms of extremes. They have to be fanatical or do nothing. But the research shows that at least doing something is way better than doing nothing at all. You can exercise without realising it by doing things you actually enjoy. So get outdoors and go for a bushwalk or do some gardening. Play some fun ball games with your family. Dance and get your bodies moving. You can even get workout videos during the colder months here in Tassie. It's starting to get a bit nippy now. And do them with your family to bring some exercise into the home. Some of my favourites include Gaiam's Yoga and Pilates DVDs, which you can get pitched to your skill level, and these are great to learn how to become in tune with your body too. The second part, now onto the food bit. The saying we've all heard before really is true. You are what you eat, and it makes sense. Fresh, natural, nutrient-rich foods fill our bodies with the right kind of fuel to help us feel good. Emotional eating, chasing a sugar rush, and eating too many processed foods, while convenient, can really have an impact on how we feel in our bodies. So it's best to keep these to a minimal. If you haven't heard of Stephanie Alexander kitchen gardens around Australia, hop on the web and check them out. I think they are amazing. You can lobby and apply for grants for these kinds of initiatives to come to your kids' schools. Even if you already have a community garden already, you can download loads of starter resources from their website. There is so much research on how when children are connected to the food that they eat and where it comes from, they tend to make healthier food choices. Not only this, but the process of tending to gardens and nature, where real food comes from, often leads to a better appreciation of natural foods. They start tasting yummier, and it's not just some strange green stuff that just popped up on their plate. Not only this, but when they are preparing and involved in preparing and cooking foods, this is teaching them valuable life skills. In addition to this, it's also a calming activity, used in many programs for people suffering from mental health problems. The Rock and Water Garden program is one, for instance. Some newer research also shows that having greenery in our living environment, so actually in our homes and in our schools, leads to kids setting more intrinsic goals motivated from within, rather than the ones they simply set for external validation and an ego boost, which is pretty interesting. So why not put some plants indoors too for kids to tend to and nurture? Lastly, health and vitality is more than just our environment and the foods we consume. It's about this thing between our ears and this thing in our chest, the thoughts we think and how we feel. So look for opportunities in life to express gratitude and kindness. Studies show that doing a gratitude journal once a week and acts of kindness can significantly boost well-being. You could even get your children to send out gratitude letters, Difficulty in relationships is pretty much the #1 reason people end up in therapy. So how about engage in some positive relationships in your life with people that are your supporters? Too often we hang around with negative people that maybe don't have the best intentions for us, so that's something to think about. Also living in the past, mulling over the past in our mind, what's known as prospection, can also be a major cause of anxiety and depression and distress for us. At a conference recently in Melbourne, Dr. Susie Green from the Positivity Institute recently said, "Rather than being driven by my past, I can instead decide to be pulled by my future," which really inspired and uplifted me. I know something is good for my growth when I feel it, when I hear it and feel enlivened, so maybe that resonated with you too. There is also a great saying about parenting that your children will follow your actions, an example, rather than your advice. So live by example and model the kind of positive coping strategies that are appropriate and healthy behaviours that you want to promote and see in them. It's a little rich to expect kids to eat their veggies if mum doesn't touch them, or expect kids to play and exercise if they never see their parents being active, which makes a lot of sense. We all know that a flourishing individual will do better in almost all aspects of life. So till next time, be safe, be healthy, and most importantly, have fun.